Hi, this is Deacon John Wilson. As you know, I'm the Education Enrichment Director for West Angeles Church, here to talk about Proposition 16 that was on the California ballot in the last Tuesday, week ago now, election, completely overshadowed by the overwhelming 2-1 election of Joe Biden over Donald Trump in California. No surprise, because it is a nationally a very blue state, and even our statewide offices and the legislature are all Democrat. And I think something's happening in the Democrat Party where the progressives have assumed that they operate and run the Democrat Party. They're certainly the loudest in the party. And there's also the assumption that because California is Democrat, it's progressive, and it is progressive. I mean, I can sit up here and give you 9 or 10 reasons why it's quite progressive politically and socially here in California, and we're still the beginning of many progressive changes. But apparently, there are 3 or 4 areas where that's not true in California life. And unfortunately, for those who supported Proposition 16, Californians have resoundly spoken. I'm looking at the latest results here. Let me see here. There's about 2 million vote lead, 56.6% to 43.4% no. No on repealing Proposition 209, basically, and taking us back to race based affirmative action and preferences in our admissions and our hiring of state college employees. Um, and a lot are so shocked. I'm actually not shocked. First of all, I'm not shocked, and I actually agree with the will of the voters. I'm not opposed to voters. Actually, I'm in the majority, which seems rather odd, and some of you will not agree with me who hear this video, but I did not want to see us returning to preferences, to racial preferences in admissions of students. I'll cover employers in probably another video. I'll say a little about it here, but not a whole lot. I want to focus on students. And the reason why I'm starting with students is I got quite a few texts and email from students and parents of students who are applying to UC who assume this now means they won't get in to UC, as if they needed race-based preferences to get in, which is where I'm going to begin my critique on those who voted in favor of repealing 209 and are quite shocked today. Basically, the state's citizens seem to be saying, everybody needs to earn their way into CSU and UC. Of course, as you'll learn in my later video, it's mostly a UC thing because don't have a problem. They're properly represented by races. So we must be talking about UCLA and UC Berkeley. That's where this repeal 209 stuff came from. And I don't see a problem at all. The issue is, first of all, our state schools take the top 10% of students. Well, it's pretty clear that our black inner city high schools are not producing those students in those numbers. I say the Latinx or Hispanic families are doing way better, but they still are underrepresented in those 2 colleges, not as much as black students are. It could be a situation where there's just not enough students that are qualified to get by numerically to get in there, and that's why they're not getting in or getting in at a smaller rate than when we had race preferences. It also could be true that they just don't want to go. I think you'll see in my next video that my black students, I get my share in from our program, but they don't feel entirely welcome in UC, particularly. So lowering the requirements for race won't really help you with them. It's something about your campuses. And I'll talk about that in the next video. I don't understand also, I see students seeming to think that unless the requirements are lessened, they won't get into UC. And I'm not encouraged by that at all. Um, I have lots of students applying who are great students. And this year there's no SAT. These students should concentrate on having great essays, a great package which shows their leadership and their activities in high school. These are going to be things that get you into UC, showing your leadership ability. If these are areas that in any year would have been a problem for UC, it's just something now that's going to be really big. But if you have the grades and you have a good application pack, you'll get into UC. It's no secret to that. And here's the dirty, rotten secret: they know you're black when you apply. There's been a de facto understanding of where to get and how to get black students. They know where to go and how to get them, and just not enrolling in great or applying in great and then deciding to go in great enough numbers. So I don't think Proposition 16 would have helped. Another thing I heard from people who voted, other people than me that voted no, was that they don't particularly feel that UC and CSU really have a problem. They're not racist. It's not everything that's out of line racially doesn't mean it's racist. It just means that we're not getting a lot of black students doing it. And we should look into that for sure. But the assumption that it's race, that we have to have race-based preferences is not cool. And then one student told me in UC, they don't want to seem like when they get to UC that they only got in because they were black. I have a problem with that. And as a black man, I surely have a problem with a college with some of these white progressives, right? Who assume that these poor little black kids need our help or they won't get into UC. And I find that disgustingly appalling that we have to scratch and beg white people to let us in because we're black. I have a real problem with that. I feel like it feels like I'm on a plantation and I have to, get help from the white man to get what I need. Sorry to talk about race that way, but that's the way I feel as a black man when people say they needed this 216 to get more black students in. And then I know there are a lot of black leaders, black educators, and some indeed some very large community-based organizations and lobbyists. One very large that I'm thinking of now that I used to be part of that seriously feel that there's no other way to get more black students and Hispanic students for that matter into UC. But I find that wholly unacceptable. Let's improve our schools. Let's do something about that and get our students in there. Let's do things in the community. I mean, our program is doing a lot to help students to do better academically. Let's intervene in middle school and high school. Let's work this problem. Let's still say we're going to wait for the white man to take care of us. Yeah, I remember, I kind of close with this, but remember James Brown, that famous black singer, soul singer, we all know parents, where he sang, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door and I get it myself. UC has opened the door. CSU has opened the door. Go in there and get it. You don't need Proposition 19 to do that. Now, Proposition 19 could still pass, but I don't see the mathematics making it happen. So let's stop every 5 years asking for the rules to change. And we all know the dirty, rotten secret that UC Berkeley and UCLA, they know the black students that are applying. They're not stupid. They can see what high schools kids are applying from. They can look through that application and they know who the black students are. And if they told the truth, they would tell you that we're not making good enough application packages in some cases. In other cases, the grades and performance just are not there. And they need to be there to go to a research school, and they know it, where they're not going to be taught on the level of other schools. The research school, the student has to do a lot of work themselves. So I'm really sorry, especially if I offended anyone, but I'm in no way upset. I sleep very well after I heard this, that Proposition 16, along with three other ones I'll talk about later, uh, did not pass. Prop 16 did not pass. We will not repeal Proposition 209. Now, what will happen now is they'll probably try to get some judge to overturn it, and then it goes to the Ninth Circuit, which now is a little more moderate because of some recent appointees. So I don't even see the courts necessarily being the escape hatch now that the voters have spoken. Because there have been times that the voters have spoken, but people have just gone to the courts, who in this state is another form of the legislature, just gone around it. but I don't think that this time it'll be quite as easy. All right, God bless you. I hope that helps. Bye bye now.